I'm Alicia.
And I'm Liam. We both have OCD. And instead of spiraling alone, we decided to turn our symptoms into a podcast. You're welcome.
Here, we overshare real stories, laugh through the anxiety, and talk to actual experts who can explain why your brain keeps asking, what if I accidentally marry my cousin?
Whether your thing is hand washing, mental rituals, or just silently panicking during normal conversations, congrats. You have found your people.
This is a safe place. Unless you're an intrusive thought, in which case, get in line, buddy. We're booked.
So grab a weighted blanket, cancel your plans for the 5th time, and let's dive in. This is the OCD Confessional.
And yes, we did check this recording 4 times before uploading it.
I am so excited and maybe even slightly aroused for this conversation for this.
That makes 3 of us.
Intellectually aroused for this conversation today. He is an actor, a model, an entrepreneur, a fashion consultant, and has become a dear friend, and most important, a wonderful husband and father. It is Spence Hill, Alicia's wonderful husband. Spence, so excited to have you on.
Hey guys, excited to be here. I'm very, very proud of you guys and what you've accomplished in the short time since you started the podcast. And man, like rocket ship mode. You guys are doing it and impacting lives, and so it's been really fun to be along for the ride. Yeah,
that's what people who are obsessive do. We just take something and go with it.
Dude, if that, you know, we're talking about the strong suits of ADHD with our son too, and there's definitely some strong things about having OCD too. It's not full of weaknesses. It's definitely
figure it out. It can be a blessing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you got to find
you guys have done.
Find your way around it. So I'm so excited to talk to you. A few episodes ago, Alicia interviewed Leah, my wife, and me about what it's like to be the partner of someone with OCD, because our listeners send a lot of questions along those lines. They're married to someone with OCD, or they have a close friend, and they're not always sure exactly how to navigate it. So I think that was a really important conversation for us to have, and people got a lot out of it. And we wanted to do the same with you, because each person with OCD has a unique experience. So Spence, I want to put the first question to you. A while back, Alicia comes to you and says, I think I might have OCD. What was your reaction to that?
I won't answer for him, but go ahead.
What were you going to say?
Well, add it to the list.
Yeah. I mean, so you guys, for those who've listened to the podcast, obviously they know that we've been dealing with lots of different things that we thought it could be, whether that was stuff with the gut-brain axis, SIBO, with Hashimoto's, with mold illness.
We actually haven't dove into any of that yet with listeners.
Oh, really?
No. So Liam and I had recorded an episode, just he and I, and we talked about all the health journey that craziness I put you through for years, but we didn't share that yet. So that's news for people listening. I took this man on a crazy roller coaster of trying to figure out what the heck was going on, whether it be mold illness. I mean, we did a remediation in the house, and although the test came back that I had mold illness and I was struggling with gut issues, I was on this massive search and hunt to figure out what the heck was going on with me and why I was feeling the way I was feeling. So back to
so basically, we know that there's been something going on that is contributing to some depression, right? Whether that was all the things that she just mentioned, and so we've had these little sparks of aha moments along the way where it's like, oh my gosh, this whole time it was mold illness. And so we kind of leaned into that, and in that sort of became, not by her doing really, but because so many people were reaching out to her on Instagram and through her socials. Oh my gosh, I've been depressed. Maybe I have mold illness too. So she became an expert on mold illness and
Surprise,
authority
surprise.
that was like, she really did. And so we were sure that was it for a long, long time. And then it kind of reared its ugly head again after we had the remediation.
After my gut was healed.
So after her gut was healed. And so I was just like, we're always trying to figure out what it was. So when she said it was OCD and she said she had a conversation with you about it, my knowledge of OCD was just like most people's, very generic, very cliche, oh, neat freak, oh, germaphobe, whatever it was. So when she started talking about the intrusive thoughts and stuff that I know that she's battled along the way, it made a ton of sense to me. And so I've been, that's part of the reason I've been very, very supportive of her on this journey, because I feel like when she arms herself with the tools that she needs to conquer it or to fight it or to do whatever she needs to do on a day-to-day basis to feel her best healthy self. I was excited, to be perfectly honest. And to know too that in you, she's got a confidant and a partner who's also got a lot of the same stuff going on, that you guys can kind of bounce ideas off of each other and kind of, I don't know. It seems like you guys make a really good team in that.
Yeah, I think the episode with Leah was super powerful for him. When he came up the stairs and he had I think you cried. I think you laughed, you cried, all the things. He said, "Wow." It was the first time. I'll let you speak for yourself. But that episode I think was huge for him.
I guess some of the stuff that I thought was plain old jealousy or weird thoughts that you were having about our relationship, about me falling in love with a co-star, about me.
It happened.
And so for me, it's like,
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't realize how intrusive and how disruptive those thoughts really were. So for me, it was just like, come on, dude, this is stupid. We're going through this again. And little do I know, these are intrusive thoughts on replay over and over that are really disruptive and not only heartbreaking, but like crippling to be able to get yourself out of that like loop.
Yeah. And he gives me no reason to believe anything would happen. But relationship OCD was a big one for a long time with us, with him traveling and having work and shoots on set with beautiful women all the time. I was like, well, I'm confident in our marriage. Why do I keep thinking this? He's giving me no reason.
That was always my default, and my sort of my defense was, I've given you literally zero inclination. There's zero evidence. There's zero people that I am on set with. They follow me on social media. They know that I'm an extremely happily married man, devoted husband, etc. There's nothing in my vibe other than just being me and being kind that would let anybody on that's even part of my makeup.
And I knew that. And there were a lot of things that I didn't share with him because I knew that was going on in my head. My fears of what could be, what may be happening, and I left a lot of that actually within myself. I didn't share even half of what was going on.
For me, I believe that your character is everything, and so for me, that was an attack on my character, and that was kind of the what we'd always talk about is like, you're attacking my character right now just by making these not even allegations, but just bringing up that this is a part of what's going on in your mental space.
Yeah. There's a lot of fear around that. And OCD attacks what we love the most. And I love our marriage and I love you so much that, of course, it's going to latch onto that. And Liam can relate the relationship stuff. I think you're in that now, which is interesting to me because OCD moves. Our relationship stuff isn't there right now. I don't fear he'll do anything right now. That's not what it's latched onto. Right now, it's latched onto death of my family. Like, I don't even like my kids swimming in the ocean that we live a mile from because I think they're going to get swept under a current. And so
And that's a tough one too, because now, especially right now, I mean, obviously we live at the beach and we live at a place that's small town vibey, but you're literally, we're 30 minutes away from LA. It's not like we're not in a metropolitan area, but these kids are riding on e-bikes and our son wants to have more freedom, which is age appropriate freedom. But I know that OCD latches on, like you said, to their safety. And so for us, we're trying to navigate,
what's appropriate, what makes sense, and what's fear-based.
I want to go back a little bit to the relationship OCD thing, Spence, because it's funny that you say you hadn't done anything that would lead her to believe you could be unfaithful or falling out of love. There was no sign of that. That was true in my relationship with Leah as well. There was no reason for me to think that something like that might happen other than my OCD telling me it would and creating that fear. So when Alicia would come to you and say, hey, I'm worried about that co-star. What's your relationship with her like? What would you say to her? It sounds like you got kind of defensive and said, why would you ever think that of me? And in reality, what you probably should have said, if you knew then what you know now, is that's your OCD talking, and I'm not going to respond to it.
Yes. That's what's been one of the cool parts, is knowing all the characteristics and what goes into OCD. And so for me, it's given me a new level of patience when those situations come up, because I know that it's not rational. I know that it's an intrusive thought that has snuck into her head about me, about the boys, about a family member, whatever it is. And so I'm able to, I'm not always like,
you do it a lot lately. Like, that's your OCD. and I'm like, well, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. And I'll take a moment and I'll say, yeah, that's a little bit of a fabricated story that I just like catastrophe.
But I also don't throw it in your face. It's not like, that's OCD, shut the F up.
No,
it's like, that's
not who you are. Of course not.
That sounds like OCD to me.
And
she's like, could you put the toilet seat down? And you're like, that's your OCD talking right now.
Yeah, he doesn't use it to his advantage.
That's an intrusive thought. Nah, leave it alone. No, but it is. It really has. It's the more I learn about it, and because I'm learning too. Like it's one of those things where if it doesn't necessarily affect you, you don't know a lot about it. But as soon as it does affect you or a loved one, whatever, you become an expert in a real big hurry. Yeah. Because I feel like I'm constantly taking things and putting it in my toolbox. One example of the relationship stuff that I brought up the other day, and this was my career has gravitated over the years towards commercial print, but I haven't auditioned for TV and movie stuff in a long time because I've turned down a lot of things over the years. And when I would get an audition that was for a part of a romantic couple, whatever, it was always
hell to the no.
She's like, why are you even doing this? You're not going to book this. And so for me, I would have to. She's the person that I would have to read lines with. So on the other side of the camera, it's not only somebody who isn't giving me what I need from an emotional standpoint from a scene partner. It's also like, fuck this, whatever. Why are we even doing this right now? So,
yeah, I was not a happy camper with those scenes at all because my fear was coming true in those moments. Why would I support that?
Right.
I think I can look at it differently now.
Well, I asked you point blank last month. I was like, hey, I understand your fears around this. And now that we know where those fears come from, I need you to not judge the material or to think about that. I need you as my partner, as someone who's trying to find another way to bring income to our family for us to thrive. I need you to be a willing participant in helping me prepare for these auditions.
And I said, but do you have to kiss her?
and then the first audition,
Liam, it was a sex scene.
You guys,
like high being tested.
The first audition they sent me is called My Silver Fling. My summer fling was Silver Fox, and they wanted to book me on the role, and it was like S&M, BDSM with an 18-year-old co-star, and I was like,
I said, I'm going to tell you how I feel and I'm going to let you make the decision for yourself. I'm not going to tell you can or cannot do something. That is not my place to do that, but I need you to think this through. There were a lot of reasons you turned it down, not just because of me.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's just one example.
It was bad.
I love that the directions in the script say full penetration.
Yeah.
Like, talk about ERP on another level.
Once I saw in the breakdown that there was going to be an intimacy coordinator, I was
No. Look, it's part of the job. I get it. I will have a completely different approach and outlook on those moments now that I know that what's real and what's not.
Well, I think and this is maybe a question for later, but I feel like, how long have you known you had OCD? Long time, right?
4 or 5 years. So not as long as you would hope.
So in your OCD journey, is it, you have it and you don't want to let it rule your life. So how much strength do you get from knowing what it is and being able to nip it in the bud when it rears its ugly head?
Yeah, it is immensely powerful. You have some insight that what you're thinking is probably not real, but it feels so real and you have none of the tools for handling it and no idea why you're feeling that way, which is why Alicia and I was in a similar state for years within that constant search for what is causing this. Is it mold? Is it depression? Is it some other environment?
Perimenopause. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's interesting is all those things can make OCD worse. Your mold in your house that you had remediated probably did make your symptoms a little worse, or perimenopause, I'm sure, does heighten your symptoms, or you said during the luteal phase, your symptoms are worse. So there are external factors, but having the knowledge that broadly, this is what is happening to me right now is super, super helpful because you can at minimum say, I know that this is what it is. I know it will pass. I've been through this many times before, as opposed to the state before, which is you get into that state and you actually don't know if it's ever going to end. And you don't know why.
Well, yeah. And you don't have the language to express why. And that was a big one for us. Was I knew I was hyper responsible. I was anxious all the time. I was battling this thing. And how can he not, for a little while, blame himself too on some level? Go, well, what am I doing, honey? How can I fix this? How can I help you? It was a lot of, and he was exhausted too from it, going, what? I don't know. I'll do anything to help you. I can't be a better husband. I am doing the best. And he's an incredible husband. Like, I don't know how I got so lucky. I'm not trying to sound cringe right now, but he's an incredible person. And I would often question, like, holy shit, why is he still with me? And so that laid another layer of shame and sadness and guilt and all the things, because I was like, I am dragging us through the mud. It could be so different. It should be so different. I should be able to relax with him and I should be able to, like, connect with him. But instead, I'm spiraling and I'm what on the outside would describe as controlling behavior. Because, let's use the beach for an example. If I'm in my head, I'm having a terrible day, I'm looking to him and going, why aren't you? Why aren't you? Why aren't you? Go get them. Go get them. Where are the boys? They're in the water. They're too deep. Why don't they have their this on? What? You. And it's a lot of it, he looks at me and he's like, can you just lay out and, like, enjoy the sun? Like, shut up. So and that's not happening anymore. You can't, I know that I can relax and that those voices coming in are, I know what to do with them. I don't look to him for that comfort. I don't look for him. I try not to look to you for that reassurance. It's still hard.
Yeah. Work in progress, right?
What I was going to say about the reassurance thing is that what's so hard about that is Alicia and I, with OCD, know I'm not supposed to seek the reassurance. You as the partner know that if we do, you're not supposed to give it. What's hard about that is that when we don't seek the reassurance and we want it, it actually is extremely uncomfortable for us.
Right.
And it's supposed to be. And we're supposed to learn to live with that discomfort. And over time, it will reduce. But what you don't know in that moment is that for us to not seek it, to not ask for it, is actually quite an effort.
Right.
And it's better for us long term, but it is an effort to shut that down and go, I'm not going to ask for that right now.
And it's an invisible effort. And I would express to him all the time, Liam, before I had the language and knew this was OCD, you don't know how hard I am trying, honey. I wish you could see. I wish you knew. And it was this like desperate desire for him to understand the effort that I was actually giving.
A common theme in our relationship has always been momentum and consistency. And we always talk about, for us to continue to live out here and pursue the arts like we have and keep our schedules free and have this really awesome dynamic between us, we have to hustle and we have to take advantage of momentum and be consistent and show up not only for the projects that we're shooting, but for ourselves, all those things. And so for me, seeing her struggle with the consistency and taking advantage of momentum was always a big thing for me. And I don't battle depression. And so for me, I was always like, my naive ass was always like, you have a husband who loves you. You live at the beach. You have 2 amazing, healthy boys. What more do you need to be happy? And quite honestly, she didn't have the answer for it. She's like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with me. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure it out too. And so now that we are armed with all the different tools that we need, it really has. I feel like there's been a huge weight lifted. Not that we don't still deal with some of those things, but we're dealing with them in a completely different manner, from a completely different headspace.
Yeah.
So I think that it's really strengthened our relationship over the past few months. Just because anytime you lead with love and patience, you're going to be better off anyway,
You guys already were an amazing couple. I got to spend so much time with you in South America and loved your dynamic and loved you individually and as a couple. So it's amazing to hear that you've been able to continue to build on that as a result of the knowledge that you didn't have then that you do now. And the other question I want to ask, Spence, because what happens for someone with relationship OCD, or really any type of OCD that the partner is also experiencing, is that for you, it can become a burden. I mean, it's very hard for us to admit. When I was in those real deep throes of OCD, the worst fear was that this was going to be a burden to Leah. In addition to whatever pain it was causing me and our relationship just as a result of the OCD, my worst fear was, and she is eventually going to grow resentful of me for this and feel that it's a burden. And I remember one of our worst conversations, which was a very productive conversation, but felt horrible, was when she finally did say to me, you're not a burden, but this is a burden. And we need to figure that out. You need to stop stalling with getting this corrected because the situation is burdensome. So I wonder if there were times where, not that it made you feel any differently about Alicia, but were there times in that relationship where it was really difficult to move through, and what caused you to stick with it?
Yeah, why didn't you divorce me? And what Liam is going to say in a very polite way is, why did you stick around with this crazy animal?
You put it.
Oh, that's basically what I was trying to ask.
It's okay, Liam. You can be blunt.
You put it very eloquently, but I think that there's those moments where you do feel like you're going a little bit wacky because you're having the same conversations over and over and over. And again, it wasn't that I was like
Fun to laugh at now.
she was a burden, but when you have the same conversations and you feel like you've come to some sort of resolution and then you find yourself right back in that exact same place, I would tell her all the time, I feel like we've been over this before. We've been here and we've had this exact same conversation. Why are we having to revisit this?
But Liam, you're forgetting. Yeah, and on that note, I bring up stuff that happened 10 years ago.
Oh yeah.
And throw that in his face. And he's like, honey, it's been 10 years since that incident that night. And I'm like, yeah, but it happened.
There was a time when we first started dating, and I can't remember what the scenario was, but
let's not share the scenario.
I told her that I was bored.
Oh,
and this
we were dating. This is way early.
So
not a
she'll still to this day, 14 years, 2 kids. And she'll still throw that in my face sometimes. I'm like, babe, that's old shit. You can't.
That one hurt. I'm like the least boring person on the planet, and I felt like that one stung, and I held on to that.
We were in a little bit of a rut for whatever reason it was. So I was just like,
I don't know, but I'm like, I will make sure this guy is never bored. How about that? You married the right person to never be bored.
That's amazing. What's interesting, Spence, is that for you that was 14 years ago. For Alicia, it happened yesterday because what Alicia did, where she spent the next 14 years playing that on repeat in her head, which is what OCD does. It's a broken record, and it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. So your experience as someone with OCD is like, oh, that's just happened.
Quick break. We'll be right back. But first, a word from our sponsor. The same distressing, unwanted thoughts keep playing over and over in your mind. The same rituals keep eating up your time, holding you back from enjoying your life. You've tried talk therapy before and spent session after session diving into those thoughts, trying to understand them, trying to fix them, but somehow they just get worse. And the shame piles on because you think, why isn't this working? What's wrong with me? If this sounds familiar, here's what you need to know. You're not the problem. You're experiencing something that a lot of people with OCD experience. Getting your life back is possible because OCD is highly treatable. It just requires a completely different approach than other mental health conditions. In fact, standard talk therapy often makes OCD worse because it encourages you to analyze those intrusive thoughts or try to replace them with positive ones. But with OCD, the more attention you give the thoughts, the stickier they become. That's where NoCD comes in. NoCD provides virtual therapy designed specifically for OCD. Every single one of their therapists is extensively trained in a type of therapy called ERP, or Exposure and Response Prevention, which is the most effective treatment available for OCD. And they get the training from world-renowned OCD experts so they truly understand what you're dealing with, even the stuff that feels impossible to say out loud. In live face-to-face virtual sessions, your NoCD therapist will teach you how to take the power away from intrusive thoughts so you can live the life that you want to live. And between sessions, you'll be able to message your therapist anytime, join dozens of life support groups, and continue your progress with other expert-developed therapy tools. NoCD is also covered by insurance for over 138 million Americans, and their team makes it really simple to get started. Visit nocd.com and book a free 15-minute call. That's nocd.com to learn more and talk to someone who can help, because you deserve treatment that actually works for OCD.
And now, back to our show.
And I know, too, that OCD begins at lots of different ways, but I know for her and her upbringing and how really traumatic it was, there's just a lot of deep-seated trauma. So I always tell people, or I used to tell her, and she's working on this too, her default, my default is P for positive, her default is N for negative. And so it takes a lot of work on a daily basis just to get to that mid-range for her. And so I know that she's trying to reprogram to look at things through a different lens, but that's not always the easiest thing to do, especially when a lot of those memories and a lot of things that she went through as a child and growing up is really, really dark, scary, sad stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's the hardest thing. The life I live right now with you is the most positive dream life I could have ever asked for, but it doesn't come without a lot of work.
Yeah.
Internally.
Yeah, there's a lot of evidence that trauma can lead to worse OCD in someone who's predisposed to it, and it can inform the OCD. In other words, it latches on to the things that were traumatic as a kid. So it makes sense to me that, Alicia's OCD latched onto you at first, right? Because the relationships in her childhood were broken. And so will this one become, it makes perfect sense to me. I wonder,
Yeah.
Alicia, Spence had said that he feels the relationship between you two, which was obviously super strong already, has gotten stronger as a result of you finding out you've been dealing with OCD all this time.
Uh-huh.
Do you feel that way too? Do you feel like it's improved your relationship in addition to improving your own personal world?
Oh, for sure. Like I mentioned, I have the language now to stop the story from going any further, right? And for him to be on board and be supportive and understand that this is what's going on with me, we're able to stop in those moments and look at it from an outside perspective of what is real and what is the OCD right now. And to have that support with him, it allows, it's like another lane of intimacy because we know each other on a whole nother level. Now he's able to see me in a way that I have been struggling for so long to be seen.
There's a component of self-advocacy too that comes along with the knowing about OCD and what it is exactly that you're dealing with too, that you can be like, hey, you talk about what kind of level you're at that day. Am I at a 1 through 10? And
Yeah, we like to check in with each
checking
other
in a little bit. And so there's, I'm really dealing with some shitty thoughts today. I need to take a walk or go exercise or go sit in the sauna or whatever the thing is that day that you're helping yourself, shake yourself out of it.
What's interesting is I think a lot about how if I married somebody else who wasn't neurotypical and supportive and healthy and didn't battle depression, how different this would be. How important it is to have that support. I mean, it's everything. I don't know how it would survive our marriage if you weren't as level-headed and supportive and loving as you was.
Yeah,
that's nice of you to say.
But I also bring the fun, so I'm not going to discredit where I stand in this marriage.
you think that I don't?
I keep him on his toes. That's for sure.
I think we bring the same amount of fun. Thank you very much. I'm not just a
You do.
wallflower.
You are very fun, honey.
It's a different type of fun.
Let the record show I'm fun.
One type of fun is mold remediation, and the other is
5-day water cleanse.
There's a lot, since we met you and Leah, obviously there's a lot of laughs and you guys get along the same way as we do. And it's, we take life and all those things that we have to do for work and for family very, very seriously. On the flip side of that coin, we never take ourselves very seriously. And so that helps us find the comedy
and the humor in it all,
and be able to laugh through some of this stuff too, which I know you think is very, very important.
Yeah, we've gotten to a good place of not letting the anger carry on for more than 5 seconds of really any situation. He's like, yeah, you ready? You ready to not be pissed off about this? Like we have too many things that are great.
I came through the bedroom and showed you my ass.
Oh yeah, he likes to just pull his pants down and show me his ass crack. That'll really change the mood.
How bad you are if I just go and moon you like a 4-year-old, you're gonna
give up.
Wow.
Are we just showing cheeks? Or are we going fruit bowl? What are we?
Sometimes it can be both. Sometimes it's I'm not a one trick pony, bro. Sometimes it's full meal deal. Sometimes it's just a little bit crack.
I'm holding my laugh right now. I can't laugh with these stitches in my face.
Oh my God.
Challenging.
It's okay.
Alicia.
Yeah, we're silly for sure.
Yeah, I noticed you love to prank Spence. Is that just something that you've always done, or do you kind of does it, I'm trying to think of the right way to put the question, but does it almost help you in your mental health battle to be like, I'm going to put some energy right now into fucking with Spence and it's going to make me feel better?
Yeah. He has such a childlike demeanor and way about him that he's such a fun, easy person to be around and I'm often the more serious one that's worried. And I think I've learned that if I can lean into his ways a little more, I'm happier and I love seeing him laugh. That is where we thrive. When we're both laughing, we feel like we can conquer the world. And it's this energy between us that is undeniable. And so it's a way for us to just stay connected. And I adore him and love him so much that I want to, even when we're 90, I want to continue to show butt cracks and hide behind doors and scare each other. I think about that a lot. Like our kids are only going to be this age for so long that I really want to know and look back and go, I was fun. It was fun in our home. And it's not, and things don't need to be taken so seriously. And I try to lean into that side with him. And it's just fun.
The 90-year-old comment made me think of a joke. So if you'll indulge me, I'll tell it real quick. So there's a 90-year-old couple, and the husband says to the wife at the breakfast nook, "Honey, why don't we have breakfast in the nude like we used to?" And she's like, "Okay." So they both strip down, and they're butt naked, and she looks at him and she says, "Honey, even at this age, my nipples are just as hot for you as the day we met." And he said, "That's because one's in your coffee and the other one's in your oatmeal."
See what I live with, Liam? That will be us. That will be us.
Well, that's like the whole point of this podcast, I think, is exactly right. When Alicia and I were thinking of it, was we wanted people to be able to have that laughter again, because OCD can be so dark. I mean, and I know it has been for Alicia and it has been for me and for a lot of the people who listen. And if you can find those moments in the day when you can open up enough to laugh a bit, even at the disease, I think you're just so much better off. So I'm glad that, Alicia, you keep reaching for that and sharing that with Spence.
Yeah, I think that you guys are finding an absolutely perfect balance in between that for all the reasons you just said. Of it can be dark, it can make you feel alone, it can make you feel all those things, and it's, to a lot of people it's not a laughing matter, but for you to be in the place that you're at, and you to be at the place that you're at in life, and to be able to, find the humor in these little moments, and not that you're laughing at people that are struggling, but I think even the people that are struggling can and are looking to you guys as a source of strength to be like, these guys are thriving, and these guys are moving forward the best way they know how, and they're also finding a light in these situations that can otherwise, be super dark and depressing.
Spence, you had mentioned that when Alicia first came to you and said, I might this might be something that I'm dealing with, and you said, your understanding of OCD was very rudimentary, like most of the public. There was a study that came out recently that some shockingly high number, and I don't want to say the number because I'll get it wrong, but some shockingly high number of people with OCD are not diagnosed with it and go.
Oh, I saw that.
And go a fair amount of their lives not being diagnosed and not therefore getting the correct treatment. So what was your understanding of OCD before Alicia came to you, and how has that changed since learning about her situation?
Well, I think that she mentioned, your guys' talk in South America, which was kind of the catalyst of her thinking that maybe that could be what she's been dealing with. You ask about my understanding of OCD. Like I said, it wasn't based on intrusive thoughts. It was more of the personal hygiene thing or the cleanliness or the order, having things in a certain order, which I know are all components of OCD, but I had no clue
The depths of like what it
depths of
really
it.
was.
And you said it, it goes undiagnosed because it does. It can masquerade as anxiety. It can masquerade as depression or whatever you want to call it. But
What are the subtypes? Like how many
yeah,
ways it
no
shows up
idea
for
about the
people?
subtypes. I have no idea about some of your guests that you've had already, the subtypes that they deal with. Zero clue about any of that.
Yeah.
Zero clue.
Same.
I'm looking back at moments that I'm like, oh, wow, that's what we were dealing with 5 years ago. That's what we were dealing with 2 years ago.
Do you want to talk about the travel stuff? So Liam, traveling is really hard for me. When I'm taken out of I like being home. I like my routine. I like the weird shit I do that when I'm anxious, like cleaning the cabinets with the headlight. Like I'm a weirdo and I have my things, ADHD and OCD. You develop some habits and things that bring comfort. And when I'm taken out of my comfort zone, I shut down. And that has been one of the biggest issues because I love his family. They are my family. I love his mom to death. His dad is a dream come true. Like I truly, with my whole heart, love his family so much. But when I go home for the holidays back to Kansas, something happens and I did not know why. Now I know why. They don't get the best version of me. They get the Alicia who is questioning everything internally. Do they really like me? Are they proud their son married me? Am I a good mom? Am I doing it all right? Should I be contributing more? I don't know where I completely lose all sight of who I am. It's bizarre, and it happens, and I get, and I go into it, and we're packing, and I go into it, and I say, "This can be the best year yet. I know we're gonna have no issues. I'm not gonna shut down." And then, like 2 days in, I'm like, I can't come out of the bedroom. It's like
Yeah.
that.
Oh my God. So
What?
while you're saying this, when I go to Leah's in-laws, we go in the summer, every summer to they have a house in the Finger Lakes in New York. 2 days in, I have to retreat to the bedroom. And
Really?
I'll go in there for like a good half hour to an hour and just sit by myself because I get so anxious and the intrusive thoughts start flooding in. So I actually wonder if there's some similar dynamic there that's happening where it's because I'm out of my comfort zone or it's something. But I hadn't ever identified it as that.
What are your intrusive thoughts that you're dealing with in those moments?
Do you know?
Are they, is it the same theme or what is it?
It's the same theme as what I deal with or what I had been dealing with leading up to it. It's just they get much louder. So it depends on what my OCD is focused on at that moment. So in my darkest moments, my strongest OCD was relationship OCD, and it was mostly directed at Leah. Worries about faithfulness, worries about whether or not she loved me, was I worthy, all of that stuff that comes with relationship OCD. And what's interesting is we'd be at the lake house in the Finger Lakes where I'm with her family, the kids are there, we're all having a blast. You would think that would be the moment when I would feel the most comfortable in the relationship. Yeah. I don't know why and what the mechanism is, but it's when I'm at my worst.
Yeah, same. But Liam, we've talked so much about this and your work ethic, and you work like a lot. You bury yourself in work. And when you're on vacation and you're not working, our minds aren't fixated on other things. And so we have a lot more time with our thoughts, even though we should be busy being present with our family. That is one of the biggest hurdles people with OCD have, is being present. It's like we're not allowed to be. And so that's why if I don't get up there and establish a routine there, get out of the house first thing, get that sunlight on my face, do the walks around, they have a beautiful lake there, and do those things that I know that create that version of me that I'm proud of, that's me. That is me, not the OCD, right? I'll fall into that depression there very fast. So I now know that I'm going into it. There's no story. There's no anything. I know who I am. I'm gonna lean into confident me without the OCD and be okay relaxing without the shame of, am I doing enough? You have to prep. I feel like I have to prep myself a little bit, which I don't know if Dr. Lisa would say that was a good thing or not.
Mhm.
But, when you have OCD, there is a constant conversation going on in your head 24/7. I don't think people
Yeah.
realize that.
Well, and I
It's
think
not silence. There's not just a
no,
calm mind.
never silence. I long for silence. I think what Dr. Lisa Coyne would say is that when you get to Spence's house and that voice starts to go, if you're not doing enough, you look like a shitty mother, blah, 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 your response to it essentially has to be, maybe I am, maybe I'm not, but I'm not going to respond to that otherwise.
Yeah, that's a tough. Yeah.
And for me, what has been my common theme is, I get to spend quality time with my mom and dad 2 to 3 times a year. And for those moments, I would love for them to not be drama filled and having to deal with whatever mental space Alicia's in.
And it's not drama like you would think drama. It's just that I go quiet, and then it leaves room for other people to question what they're doing wrong. And I know that, so then that adds shame onto how I'm acting. And why isn't Liam coming out of the room, Leah? Oh, I don't know. He has a headache. He doesn't. And then the parents feel, well, are they hosting enough? Are they doing enough? Do they have enough stuff? Whether they share that or not, I'm sure people around us question their own selves. And so that becomes tough too. And so I think open lines of communication, and we've verbalized this, and I'm close with his folks and they know all this. And, I love his mom dearly. I'm very open with her and tell her, yeah, this is what's going on in my head. And she'll reassure me. She will reassure me that it's not, and the not being reassured thing is really, really probably the hardest part about this journey and healing and moving on, is because I need a lot of reassurance.
Well, I think too, for the significant others, family members, for people that are dealing with OCD, not reassuring feels like you're being an asshole a lot of times. Not reassuring feels like you're just like,
which is new for you.
Go figure it out.
Which is new for you because you've always reassured me.
Yeah.
You've always been.
Well, because it was such like, you're asking me to, like, my love language is not the same as yours. And so to love you in that way is really, really hard for me. Not that I don't love you and adore you, but sometimes I don't tell you enough. Sometimes I don't tell you you look beautiful. Sometimes it does.
It's never enough. Never enough.
So now that I'm realizing that a lot of that is OCD based and has been in the past,
you're off the hook.
I can.
You don't have to tell me.
But I also know that some of those feelings that have been conjured up by me not being overly affectionate are sometimes OCD.
Well, and you don't know the amount of times I catch myself going to ask him for something like, do you still love me? Do you still think I'm pretty? Do you still find me attractive? I won't. I just don't. But I want to. But I'm like,
and not asking for it, as you say, is pretty uncomfortable. Like, I've noticed that, because I've been trying that too with Leah, just those moments where I was in some way trying to fish for something. I've been trying not to do those because I had sneaky ways of getting that affirmation. I didn't want to be too overt about it because that would make me look weak. But I would have.
But now she knows. Yeah.
Now she knows exactly what's happening. And so I've been trying not to do it, but it comes with a fair amount of discomfort. You know what I wonder, Alicia, because my love language is affirmation too. It's words of affirmation. And I actually I actually wonder if that is not my love language. Like, I wonder if you and I have totally identified the wrong love language, and it was just our OCD saying, yes, it's words of affirmation. Give me as much of that as possible. And really, our love language is something else that we haven't even allowed ourselves to discover.
I know this whole time, my love language is gift giving. All the gifts I've been missing out on. I actually made you.
Wow, how timely was this? Right around the corner.
It's actually not affirmations anymore, honey.
So you're talking about the reassurance and how the family members or the support system is not supposed to give that or to lean into that. Is there such a thing of you saying, "Hey, Leah, just as this is what makes me tick, this is how you can help me out, how you can help our relationship out." Does that fall into the category of her enabling, or does that just fall into the category of that's how healthy relationships thrive and work?
Well, Ellie Leibovitz said when we discussed the same thing with him was, when you're constantly needing can you tell me you love me? Do you love me? It takes away from the natural ability for that person to express, to create the intimacy and that on its own, naturally, right? So when you can know that, stop asking, then the partner can just voluntarily say it when they wish they can. The energy exchange there is going to be better overall for everybody, because it's going to be a natural affirmation that is going to attribute to our confidence. That makes sense?
Yeah, exactly right. It's interesting because Leah and I had a pretty bad argument a couple of months ago. It wasn't even about relationship stuff per se. It was about household responsibilities, parenting responsibilities. My business has required a lot of work over the last few months. She 100% carries more of the load than I do with the household stuff and the mental load. She carries far more of the mental load than I do. And so it led to this argument between us. And I said, I feel the stuff that I do is actually not appreciated enough, that you don't notice it. And then over time, she's been trying to do a much better job of noticing the things I'm doing and saying, oh, I noticed you did that. Thank you. Which in a healthy person, a person without OCD, would be exactly the dynamic you'd want to create in the relationship. But just like a couple weeks ago when she said something to me and I noticed she's been really trying to do it a lot more, I was like, I think I actually only asked for that as another means of getting reassurance that she's noticing what I do, what I bring to the table, and that I don't know that I should be getting that. I think, not that she shouldn't ever say her appreciation or whatever, like you should, but that the level of it, I think she's been responding more to my OCD need for that than my need for that actually as a person. It's
interesting.
It's such a tortured thing.
What's the healthy amount that she can share with you, and what's normal in a relationship of just honoring the other person's
What
service.
you just said kind of reminded me of some stuff that I've heard because we've gone through some moments with Parker as far as some behavior stuff, and some of the things that I've learned and what you just described. It's almost Leah doing what they refer to as a video moment. So they say, "Oh wow, I saw you do that, and I really appreciate it," as a form of reinforcement to
create more of that behavior.
Yeah, create more of that behavior and encourage more of that behavior. And it's almost so you minimize the bad stuff. You don't even give it any attention because what they're looking for is an energy exchange. And if you don't give that, and on the flip side of that coin, you give the little things that you see them doing to be better, to do this, to help their brother, to help around the house, whatever, you say, "Hey, I saw the way you did that, and I just want you to know that I really appreciate it." Sounds like she may be kind of doing some version of that.
But what you're saying is it's just feeding your OCD reassurance. And yeah, that's interesting.
I do like the idea that she's training me like a child.
Yeah. I love that Spencer just used that example as a form of parenting style.
I mean, there must be.
No, she is a psychologist. She knows what she's doing. When you point out, good, you're getting what you need, Liam, but she's also getting more of it because you like that she's noticing. So you're going to do more of it. But what happens if she stops noticing? Will you still do those things?
Yeah, I think in an ideal world, I would just do the thing because I want to contribute and I love her and want her life to be easier and I want to be a good husband and father, and not because I need the reassurance that I'm worthwhile, that I'm worthy of it, you know? And so I think that is going to take work. I mean, that's what's so tough about OCD is that the normal relationship dynamics have to kind of be thrown out the window. That notion of like, giving words of affirmation to your partner is generally what you should do, and telling them you appreciate them is generally what you should do. And I'm not saying Leah and Spence shouldn't do that, but it has to be calculated a little. Like, I don't want to overdo this because I'm giving them this reassurance, and it's, I don't know. That's a tricky one.
It takes away it takes away from the confidence that person with OCD should just have on their own. And no, I know in my heart I contribute. I know in my heart that I'm needed around here. I don't need him to tell me that. And so a normal relationship, someone without OCD would need that, and that would be lovely. People with OCD brains should probably be okay with not being told those things that they question. Because that's a thing for you. You question your worth in the house. You question your worth within the relationship. So within that frame of things that she's reassuring you, maybe she doesn't. Because you need to work on that on your own, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like you tell her, don't point those out at me, but you need to continue to do them because that's what a husband does. And you need to have the confidence. You need to have the confidence in those moments that, when you're doing XYZ, you also work a shit ton. Be confident in what you're contributing. And that is something I've actually had to work on with him. I used to tell him, oh, this brings up one. I used to tell him all the time, I think you'd be fine without me. I think you would be fine without me. And he's like, maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't. But like,
I didn't say maybe I would, maybe I would.
You gave me a look. Yes,
you might be right. Let's test that theory.
No, it was always like it was always met with this like, I don't know why you're saying that.
Yeah.
Maybe you're right. But I don't think so. But it was always a very confusing question to him. But in my head, I looked around and was like, I don't even know my place here.
And what you were seeking from him was reassurance that you are worthy.
Me.
And then, of course, he's providing that.
Say it right now. You need me.
Spence, I guess I would just want to wrap by asking other partners who are listening to this, they're in a relationship with someone with OCD. What advice would you give them for how to approach it and, how to talk with their partner about it?
She said, run for the hills. I think that patience and in life, I don't feel like patience is one of my strong suits, but in relationship and specifically this one, patience has been something that I've learned to get way better at. And I don't think that OCD is a get out of jail free card to be a stark raving bitch or asshole to people. Because sometimes it can manifest itself in that as well. And so it's not, that was one of my things. It's like, just because I'm so happy that we know what it is, we have a name for it, and we're moving forward with that knowledge. And I think just be patient along the journey, because it definitely is a journey. Just because you have a diagnosis and you're learning all these subtypes, like it's kind of like starting a relationship all over, because I approach arguments, I approach her insecurities in a completely different manner than I did before.
Yeah, you have been so patient, and it shows. And he used to just get annoyed quickly with the 10th time I asked something, and now he'll just say, "Okay, honey, like is this your OCD?"
Yeah.
And he's not angry. You're not meeting me with like annoyance and anger. There's a lot more patience for sure around here.
Because it is. It's as someone, like I said earlier, who isn't dealing with that, and to go about your day-to-day life with all those thoughts running around in your head has got you. You just have to feel like gosh, I just want a break from my brain.
I mean, how many times would I
just
come to you
want a
in
break
middle
from
day
my-
crying? Yeah, I would just like plea and in desperation of like, babe, I just wish you could be in my head for one day.
Yeah,
I
she
used to
said that a lot.
I used to tell him, I just wish you understood. I don't know how to explain this to you. It's noisy, and I understand why people chase the silence. I felt closer to understanding why, and this is sad, and this is, but like I understood why people took their life at one point. I did. And I was like, that scares me to think that I could be that close to understanding why people do that.
Mhm.
And I would never do that. And I love my family too much. But I also felt more connected to that side of darkness. And there was a few scary times there where, he didn't know what to do with that piece of information. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get a therapist. And I'm going to.
I remember, and this is a scary, very, very sad thing that happened that we talked about when we were in our couples therapy. But we had this talk before about how, she just wanted things to be silent inside her head. And I understand why people do this. And I was downstairs and something fell off of a shelf somewhere and made this loud thud. And I thought that was her. I thought that was her upstairs, that she had just taken her life for a split second. And so I came sprinting up and was like, obviously beside myself, not knowing what I was going to walk into. And it was a freaking book that fell off the shelf, but it was like literally on the heels of us having this conversation. And this was right around the time where we had all the mold illness and all the things were swirling that we didn't have. We didn't have any answers for any of it.
I had a lot of images, dark images of things. And I thought, okay, if I'm having those images, does that mean that I'll do it? A lot of those would creep in and haunt me. And it was like I just wanted to shake my head and go, no, 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 no. And I've always been able to have the thought, have the dark image and stop it. But I feared, what if there comes a time where I don't stop that thought? What if my brain goes, that is the only answer? What if my brain said, and so then I start thinking, gosh, am I going crazy? Is this like, why am I having such dark thoughts? And then I bring him into it, the happiest person I've ever met, into this dark space of like being scared of a noise. So that, that is the stuff behind the scenes that people don't see on social media. Those are those moments that people would never guess we're dealing with. And I have confidence in knowing that I'm not alone in that. And that's what gives me the courage to speak up about it, and to have his support and to have the connection with you, Liam, has been absolutely life-changing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so grateful for you and sharing your experience with me so I can finally figure out what's been going on with me. And I do want to emphasize I would never take my life. That it was all OCD. I have not had those thoughts in a very long time. And it was just it was another example. It's another example of what OCD can do. And
the importance of getting it diagnosed so you can again have the tools to deal with it. Because how many people that end up going down that road are dealing with undiagnosed OCD, intrusive thoughts that just become too much.
Man, thank you guys so much for sharing that. And I think a lot of people will be able to relate, especially the people who listen to this, Alicia. And if you or someone you know is in that boat, we do with every one of these episodes that we post at the bottom is the hotline. And people shouldn't hesitate to use that if they need to, or to reach out to us, because we're always happy to listen and get you to someone who can help. But I love you both. I think you're both incredible in your own ways and as a couple. Alicia, I think I would just end by asking, I asked Spence
Wait,
what
Liam,
advice
I
he
have
would
to
have.
interrupt you. I have to interrupt you. Did I almost see a tear? I almost saw a tear. Liam has not cried. He has not cried. Yes, my goal in life is to get this man to shed a tear.
You're gonna drop one, bro.
Almost. I saw those water.
It was welled. It was so welled. And no actual teardrop came down, but the welling,
It was there.
that's a win. That's a win.
Sorry, I am queen of interrupting. Sorry, go ahead. Remember.
No, that's okay. I was just going to ask, I asked Spence what advice he would have for a partner.
Mhm.
What advice would you have for a partner?
We know it's not easy being our partner. We know it takes a lot of strength to try to understand. And maybe we're not the best at articulating what's going on in our head. It's going to bring out sides of you that maybe you didn't realize you had to face yourself. It's going to bring out sides of you that also feel uncomfortable, that maybe you also need to go on the journey with that person to be able to provide the tools that they need as well. It is not going to be an easy thing to ride this out with them. This is their brain. This is a brain that maybe they don't even want. And for you to be accepting of that with them will be the hardest, most challenging thing that you will probably ever have to do, but also can be the most rewarding, most intimacy creating relationship, most fulfilling journey that you can go on with somebody if you're willing to do the work with them. Because you will grow in ways personally that you didn't even realize that you could.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen that in him. I've challenged him in so many ways. My OCD and the way that I am and my tough thinking and my controlling habits, if you will, has stretched him in ways that he didn't even know he could be stretched. It's tested him on levels. And you have to be willing to be okay with that and know that you signed up for better or for worse. This is that part. These are those moments. These are those testing moments to go, am I going to ride this out with her? If that partner is willing to do the work and you know that your partner is showing up and she or he is not just giving into the OCD and using it as an excuse to say, F my life and I'm just going to do this. And you see they are trying, the patience and effort with them will go far.
Mm-hmm. You have to realize too that OCD, although it can be devastating, it's not a weakness. OCD is not a weakness that that you guys that deal with it are leaning into.
Right. And it's not a character defining.
It's a day-to-day battle that you guys are showing up with strength to like be the best versions of yourself. So that in and of itself should be applauded, So I think that when you see that, and we touched on the patience, we touched on the understanding part, the more you understand about what your partner's going through.
And don't throw it, because marriages have their heated moments anyway. Let's take OCD out of the equation. Don't ever throw it in their face. Don't ever use it against them. Don't be mean about it. It takes some self-control and go, this person, we know if that person is going to open up to you and share all their deepest, darkest thoughts and really confide in you in their struggles, don't ever use it against them. That is so hurtful. Yeah. And I'm sure there are times where he wants to. I'm sure there's times where he wants it and he doesn't. And thank you for that, because you know that just
I just go in the other room and scream obscenities about you into a pillow.
It can be difficult. It can be hard. It's difficult. You have to almost make a decision like, am I going to ride this with them? Am I going to ride this wild wave with this person? Or am I going to choose to go a different route and end up with someone else with other kind of crazy? We all have a type of crazy. We all are very,
Facts.
complex creatures with our own stuff. So I'm blessed that he's decided to ride this wave with me, and I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else.
Me neither.
Oh, thank God for Spence. Thank God for Alicia.
Thank God
Spence,
for Leah.
thank you for taking the time to talk to us and for being a cheerleader of the podcast right from the beginning and for all you do to support Alicia in those moments when she needs it. So you guys are amazing. I love you both.
Love you.
We
love you,
think it's
Liam.
awesome what you guys are doing, and I'm very proud of you both, and keep up the good work.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the OCD Confessional. We would love if you could leave us a review. It'll help get this podcast in front of more people. We're trying to spread the good word about the OCD Confessional. You can also find us on social media at the OCD Confessional. Share that page as well, and we will see you next week.